gonna fall. And I have the video pinned where it came out in a reading. But what I was given, of course, is that the economy in itself has to crumble and fall. And I went into a deep structure this morning because this is how I use this vibration. I'm just going to share with you what I was given from a different standpoint from the vision. And this is exactly what I said verbatim. And I don't use this often, but I use it to give proof of what visions I was seeing back in 2023. I said, so this whole XRP and crypto game that's supposed to be coming out with Crypto Week, I was given prophecy that it'll rise and fall like the stock and be no more. And there would be a God-backed gold physical coin that was given in place. This was spoken and said that prophetic word is very much in alignment with several streams of spiritual and financial revelation that many seers, prophets, and watchers have been receiving at this time. Keep in mind, I saw this back in 2023. The pinned video is there. A false tower built on code and control. Crypto, especially coins like XRP, Ripple, has long been heralded as a decentralized hope. But behind many of these coins, especially those connected to financial institutions like XRP, are control systems. The illusion of a liberation has masked an undercurrent of global digitalization and surveillance. Your prophetic message that crypto will rise and fall like the stock is absolutely symbolic of Babylonian economic structures rising in arrogance, falling by divine decree. Revelation 18 speaks of the fall of corrupt commercial systems. The merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her because no one buys their cargoes anymore. 11 suggests not only the fall of the currencies, but also the fall of trust in what cannot be backed by truth. A God-backed physical coin, the divine replacement. A God-backed physical coin, the divine replacement. A return of physical value is sacred exchange. The prophecy received about a God-backed gold coin being physical, being given in place is incredibly significant. Here's what it aligns with. Gold, silver, and sacred resources. In biblical time, God's wealth was tangible. Silver in the temple, gold in the tabernacle, and precious stones in the breastplate of the high priestess. We are entering an era where true wealth will be tangible, sacred, and God-oriented, not virtual or algorithmic. A holy economy emerging. You may be seeing the beginning of the kingdom's economy, not based on inflation, speculation, or greed, but on divine stewardship, covenant, and community. The coin may not just be metal, it could represent a spiritual economy, access, energy, healing, and sacred exchange. Here are the signs that you might be turning into. XRP is part of a system tied to banks and global settlement systems like SWIFT, which contradicts true decentralization. The rise of this coin may mirror the final burst of the beast system before it collapses. Crypto regulation is intensifying with many nations preparing digital ID-linked currency. The crypto crash could be part of the transition into a more controlled digital realm. Central bank digital currencies. The coin from God may be both symbolic and literal, something given to the remnant for provision, trade, and survival outside the Babylonian systems. Spiritual interpretation of XRP's arc. The rise equals temptation with quick wealth. Fall, the exposure of its true allegiance. God-backed coin equals remnant provision, Joseph's storehouse. This lines up with Genesis 47, where Joseph holds the stronghouse during famine. The world came to him for grain, not virtual digits. Similarly, this God-backed coin could become a part of the provision centers God is setting up for his people. So if you have been feeling like that is all a stage in which is being presented, there's a reason that you're seeing the inflation of it. There's the reason that you're seeing the centralization of the energy. So when that vision came to me in 2023, I know that nobody was picking up on what I was seeing, because I was specifically told it's not the fiat system, it's not the crypto, it's not the XRP, and they showed me physical gold with a number 1 on it coin. Everything that I have spoken since 2020 is coming alive now. We don't necessarily always know that we're 2, 3, 4 years ahead of the game, but it always will show itself, because the true prophets will remain. Receive the physical of its testimony. And it's not because of you being given any reason other than being backed by the visions that you were given, so that you have the physical proof. Because the divine knows if they're going to give it to you in vision or hearing or feeling it in codes, it's going to come to provisions. It's going to come to the physical. So back in 2023, it was very specific that there was a man that was backing a woman in the physical dollar aspect, and for whatever reason that's very key in the prophecy that I was given. So there is a woman that is being backed by a man when it comes to a physical plan. I don't know what that is yet, but I just know that it will be. It's part of divine destiny in the provisions in which I was given. The stories that are unfolding are things that you can feel are real, but they're coming from a very deep place of knowing. And you may not know specifically where you are going. You don't need to know where you're going, and you don't need to know the how. You just need to know that if you're feeling it in your spirit to move or to go or to do this, then it'll show itself. You will resist. You will resist, because that's the natural process of the human that tries to place upon the how and the why because you think you ought to. And when you place the how and the why, you're not allowing the divine to come through and do what the divine is doing authentically for you. So when you are in devotion to self, when you are in devotion to your destiny, and they're giving me word of strongholds. So those strongholds could show up in many different ways, such as somebody guilting you because you're going to go. Could show up in many different ways, such as somebody guilting you because you're going to go. Somebody making you feel like you shouldn't go. You not knowing all of the ropes of how you're going to exactly get there. Those are all parts of those things that try to pull you away. That try to pull you away from believing in those things or actually doing those things. And that's where the resistance comes from. The resistance betrays the divine order that you are receiving. So many of you had to re-believe in you and your identity in order to move into sacred destiny. There was verbiage that was given to me that, of course, it may look like chaos to you. Sometimes those doors slamming in your face, a lot of those doors you couldn't shut for yourself. So the divine and destiny is literally coming in and slamming them for you, because the divine is pushing you into the places and the spaces that you need to be, to network, to commute, to be a part of the prophecy of the second sequel. And many of you have heard the prophecy of part of the second sequel. And look, you are my people. I got chills all over. You are my people, and this time things will be equal. And you are my people. I got chills all over. You are my people, and this time things will be equal. And they will be equal from a place of unity and sovereignty. Now, of course, you're going to see the abolishment of systems and economic ways and many different ways and how things played, but you're going to see the boom of it first before it falls. Think about it like this. Think about it like your tower moments in your evolution, right? Your tower moments in your evolution. There's always a rise and there's always a fall. Part of this also comes from astrology. In fact, many number of years, but I know that it's there. And most systems of kingdomships, but I know that it's there. And most systems of kingdomships or governing structures only, I think, cease to exist every 254 years. And America itself was at 252. It was only 2 years away. And when I read that, it came to provision and vision to me again that it had always been given to me that 2025 to 2030 was the downfall and the rise. 2025 to 2027 would be the compromise. So it would be the compromise. Hold on, let me turn that on. There we go. There would be the compromise of those structures, and then 2027 to 2030 would be the rebuild from heaven is what's being sent to me, which goes along with the prophecy in which I was given of Jesus holding a brand new baby in the American flag, because we are at the 0 degree of creation in Aries come January, February of 2026. So all part of this is divine revelations, in which have always been there. It's just about the breakdown and the how, right? So the breakdown and the how is what you're seeing now in these structures. So before the fall, there's the rise. And many things are being compromised on purpose. And many structures and many ideologies. I've always said, and I will always continue to say, those of you that are here with me today, you will see a lot of these things, but not be a part of these things. And it's because there is a divine ordinance and coordinates upon your destiny and a part of your prophecy and a part of what you were here to do. And so trials, tribulations, you wonder why. Your life has seemed like it's been so hard after so hard after so hard after so hard, and you can't catch a break, and that is just what we call the enemy, for heaven's sakes. You don't understand the depths of the spiritual reality of the etherical layers that understand your soul and what you're here to do. It's as if you are made of gold, your temple, your tabernacle. You are the ones that hold the stories and the codes that are so very, very old. It does all start with the gold. It all goes back to the gold. It all goes back to those stories which were untold. And why do you think that many religions and many structures made gold, silver, precious metals, and crystals that come out of our ground that are natural ordinance that carry sound vibration and resonances of healing vibrations, not only with the plant medicine and the earth medicine, but also those things, and those are the truest of the divine's precious stones. Although it was taken to be used in greed and take heed to the stories of what is in breed. Okay, I was trying to put that because they said breed, and I was like, what's breeding? So I had to put it into a physical sentence to revel for that with you and for you. There's this feeling of proudness, right? And it is not me, it's coming through me to you, and more of you should be very proud of what you do or what you have and what you hold within your connection to the divine. And it's because it's a part of things that are coming online that you are going to be doing and pursuing. The evolution of what's been brewing. They're giving me in circus formation. So they're giving me the vision of circus formation, which would understand. They're giving me back to revelation of part of a song. And I can't remember. I I know who the artist is. I just can't remember if it's Black is Night or if it's another one. But he talks about, and it's Nahko, Nahko, and I swear it might be ghost embodied. It's either Black is Night or ghost embodied, in which they're referencing to. And this is about the revelation of no longer being on the circus wheel. Hey Shar, what's going on, girl? So when you are coming out of the matrix, you're no longer on the circus wheel. You're in divine alignment, and it's based upon how things feel. You're just in natural flow. There's no more resistance to the process. It's just a peace in which you know. So we talk about the 5D consciousness, right? And many don't understand what it means, because it goes even further than community and unity. And it's based on a 0 point state in which many can relate, where it's the state of nothingness. So many of you are on the road to redemption. And when they mean redeeming yourself, they're not talking about, they're not, somebody in the room thought I was talking about like they have to go and pay penance. No, you've already paid your sentence, right? When they said redeem yourself, it's redeeming your sovereignty. It's redeeming and reclaiming your power and realizing where you gave that away to hour for hour, meaning many different circumstances and situations that you didn't speak authentically what you felt for you was real. You spoke it in a way that made you feel weak, right? And so now you are coming into places and spaces in which you seek what you already know. Interestingly enough, is what was just said. You seek what you already know. Okay, 2 other messages. Somebody is about to glow and somebody is about to grow. So when they give me glow, they're giving me the glow over the head like the saints. Now many of you are transpiring with interstellar connections as well. So there's 3-4 different levels of communionship. A lot of you are getting into the Fibonacci sequence or mandala effect, sacred geometry here. There's sacred geometry with things that you are creating with your hands, and in visualization here too. They're giving me revelation of things being built with sand, because they show me sand running through your hands and things that you built with sand, right? Within your own command can no longer be in demand. So you are in places and spaces, thank you Spirit, where you have taken on a new role. The new role could be you're no longer in a job that used to hold on to your soul. You could be at home. You could be in flow. It's just a matter of where you go. So that redemption is redeeming you into your destiny because of the passions, the seeding. They're giving me seeding right now. So what this means is that there is some type of vision that is seeding inside of you, and it's sitting right here on the lower part of my breastplate. So you feel the indentation of your sternum, and then right below your sternum, that's where your ribs come together, right? So solar plexus wise is about right here, okay? That's where your soul chakra is. So it's right in between my solar chakra and my heart chakra. So it feels like this energy body, this energy center. Some of you may describe it as a ball. Might feel like a ball of fire, a ball of energy. This is where there's a vision for provisions being seated inside of you. So what that means is that this is like direct divine guidance that you haven't pulled through yet, which means you haven't asked enough questions to the divine yet about what this is that you're feeling inside to be able to give you instructions or what you are hiding. So it's not that you're hiding anything on purpose, it's just that you don't know what this is on the surface. So they're asking me to ask you to take that back to the God of your understanding, the divine, okay, in wholeheartedness, and seek what this is at that time. And when you seek what this is at the time, you're going to receive divine coordinates in ordinance to the scriptures or the scribes in which you hold inside. They're giving me key codes and they're showing me many constellations. So you have to understand that obviously it's already been written in the stars. So the scrolls are part of the divine's command for you, right? And it's going to be very swift and it's going to be very quick because Uranus moving from Taurus, which is very slow moving, it's very practical, it's a very grounded energy here, and now it's moved into Gemini, which is air, and it's very swift and it moves very quickly, right? And it's almost as if Hermes is giving you a kiss this time with Mercury in retrograde, but now you've learned all that you need to learn to be able to discern what steps you need to take. So the steps are going to be placed before you, for heaven's sake. It's just a matter of if you choose to take that shape, which is take that step into what you're being asked to do. There are some of you that still question what it is that you're receiving. You get to a place that you don't question it any longer because you know exactly what frequency is speaking to you, when and how. But some of you are in disorientation about what's coming through or speaking to you somehow. So they need you to become more in devotion to understand the feeling, frequency, and voices that you're hearing here too. Because you are receiving divine instruction, there's resistance, but I don't know if it's you placing the resistance because you don't believe in yourself that it's true. It's weariness, right? But I feel like it's outside energy also influencing you to bring about that weariness inside of you of what you're actually listening to. So I'm trying to explain this on a very deep level, as I'm being asked to help you decipher what you're hearing coming through. Thank you, as always. If it is of the divine, there's no question, there's no doubt, there's no confusion. But there will try to be outside intrusion. But when you receive the message, the vision, the seeding inside of you, it's the feeling of believing that you're connecting to. If there is outside voices that are giving you information to receive, and you don't feel it and you don't see it, then it's not of the divine order, because the divine and God will always give it to you in three ways. They will give it to you where you hear it, you see it, you feel it. You can also command that spirit to unveil itself when you hear it. So if it is of truth, if it is of divine order, then you have to remember the power that you were given to ask itself, to unmask itself in divine order, to make sure that it's not something mimicking itself in a different way. That is the best way. You'll feel it in your spirit. You'll feel it, you'll see it, you'll hear it. The divine will give it to you, not just once, not just twice, 3, 4 times. They will continue to give you that until you break bread. which means until you actually take the step forward to take action instead, you're always being breadcrumbed. Some of you carry the anointing, but you don't step forward in the anointed process. You don't take it seriously enough. And that's just because you don't know how to. It just comes through you naturally. There's not something that you have to do. It just comes through you naturally. Okay? There's a mentee that I got to start to work with yesterday. Beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. And she's like, I hear these things, I see these things. And she goes, how can I fit? Why is it the life of a prophet? And I mean a real prophet. She goes, how is it that I understand and see and can fix everybody else, but I can't understand and give to myself what I need? And I said, because what you need only comes from the highest source of God. You are the healer's healer. So when that is there, you can see and you can feel and you can hear and you can see where the demons are at play in somebody's evolution and so on and so forth, and you don't even understand what you say. That's the gift of enchantment as well. It just naturally flows out of you, flows out of your spirit. And I said, of course you can't figure it out for yourself when you are of that true nature, because there's no one else for you to go to but the Most High. Because the Most High is the only one that will direct and seed and give the prophets exactly what they need, not only in their own timeline, but in many others too. So you have to reroute your victimization in your mind of being that in which you are anointed and you carry the anointing. There is a difference. All of God's children are anointed. But when you carry the anointing, the divine speaks through you in many different ways. You are the vesicle. It uses you. And it uses you in a way that cannot be mistaken. But nothing of divine truth. The story of Ruth and the story of Esther, just so you know, in very deep scrolls and biblical context, the story of Esther was actually never found in the mountains of Mesopotamia or in the caves or in Canaan. I'm trying to uncover where it came from with this big book that I just got yesterday that unleashes the story of Jesper that they left out, the apocalypse of Moses. We're talking the original story of Adam and Eve, the book of Thomas, Mary Magdalene, many others that they took out, even the scribe for Joseph that they took out. But they're talking about Ruth and Esther, right? And this is in a way that they're relating that you're coming out of that season. There's reason. You haven't been through the trials, the tribulations, the seasons that you've been through in order for nothing to happen for you. There's a divine calling over you, just like Yeshua. Yeshua didn't know that there was a divine calling on his life until he chose to take 40 days and 40 nights, go through his rise, and say yes. That's why they say many are chosen, but few will choose. I used to look at the abilities that I had and God using me from a very young way of being one of the last true mouthpieces for God to speak through. And I had to understand what it was that was going through me, but many don't understand the anointing that moves through them. Your no longer in control for your life. Your life is, it's not mine, but it's mine. I hope that makes sense. And it's in a way because it's not for me, it's for God's people to be seated, to understand that they are all equal, but there are those that are higher than the people to be used to lead the people. And this woman that I got to work with didn't understand the true gift of divine prophecy, and she was using it as a victimization. And I used to do that too. I used to villainize myself because I knew so much, and you were always the scapegoat in many different ways, in many different plays. So I got to help this soul understand that if she chose to take on this role, that her role is of a higher command. And there are many different of placements and abilities that are given. Some are very bigger, that are in, that you hold more than just 1, 2, or 3. The gift of understanding tongues, the gift of speaking in tongues. Tongues is light language, just so you know. But there's the gift of tongues, there's the gift of enchantment. There's many different ways, and there's many different gifts that are broken down. And so you have to figure out what your purpose and placement is and how to make that sound. And when you make the choice to continue to choose, because see, many people come to me in mentorship, and what happens is they'll be in divine obedience, and they'll be receiving, and they'll be making the choice every day. The spiritual life is not a theory. I've had to live it since I was a very young child to be able to understand why my ride has been so incredibly wild. And in this existence, there are many of us, and there are many of a difference of us that are rising up. And so the divine is using you as its hand to be in placement for provisions to stand. Some of you have been asked to build communities, or to start and really learn new tangible things that were given to you, and it's not for you, it's for the divine. Yes, it comes through you, but it's not for you. And it's never been for me. It's always been about God's people to seed, so that they could understand the unity and the equalism of the liberty that is actually coming in divine prophecy, which is all part of the second sequel. And if you feel like you are in different timelines, it's because you are. And the line is not linear. It goes like this and then jumps like this. And you've been feeling the rifts and the shifts. Many of you just don't even do what you used to do, but you can't even figure out what to do. They're asking you to, this seed, and this is part of the seed that they were talking about that you're feeling right here. It's not made of greed. It's not made of greed at all. It's where you are being seeded for the call. Where you start and what you start is just a small part to the bigger picture and the bigger puzzle. And they're showing me Noah's Ark, brick by brick, stone by stone, board by board. And they're talking about the tabernacle again. This has come up for the last 3 days, the tabernacle. And so the tabernacle, I gotta figure that one out so I can make a video and deliver that one to you. But that's been coming up for the last 3 days, is the tabernacle. The tabernacle, and the tabernacle was part of the structure that, as we also were told, going back to what I read in the beginning, and I'm being asked to read this again. There was divine prophecy many years ago that's pinned up here that was given to me, and it's all about the XRP and the crypto game. It's supposed to be coming out with Crypto Week. I was given divine prophecy in 2023 that it will rise and fall like the stock and be no more. And it would be a God-backed gold physical coin that was given in place. And she said it's very much in alignment with several streams of spiritual and financial revelation that seers, prophets, watchers have been receiving at this time. So The rise and the fall of XRP and crypto, a false tower built on code and control. Crypto, especially coin like XRP, Ripple, has long been heralded as decentralized hope. This is what God gave to me when I saw in vision. People in line, and they had digital things in their arm, and they had digital things in their hand, and they were all just in sheep's clothing, and they were just all in line. And that's part of the circus message, thank you, of how these things intertwine. You guys are jumping off of the circus, right? The circus wheel. Bodies in alignment, no longer in consignment, because you understand the difference between what truly is real and what's being placed in your reality to try to grab onto, that gives you some type of feeling to make you feel like you are alive. And there's something that I started to write yesterday, and they're jumping me in 3 different places. Hang on. Here you go. They want me to read a couple different things that have come through, so I will do that. Let me get to it real quick. It's in my... Because what I'll do is I'll just pull out my phone and I'll just start writing. They want me to read 2 different things. There's a sacred transition unfolding. One many of you are already feeling in the marrow of your being. A shift, not outward but deeply inward. Where once the journey was about reaching for the light, now it's about allowing the light to emerge from within. This moment marks a turning point in collective path of awakening. It's not a new teaching, but a divine remembrance, a return to what has always lived within your soul, the christened light. Once sought in study, striving is now descending into embodiment. It's like the true embodiment of true awareness in Christ consciousness. Most ascension was happening through the mind. Now it's moving from mental processes and spiritual efforts to Christ consciousness embodiment. In the past, many approached their spiritual growth through mind, analyzing, studying, and observing, striving to improve. That was imperative for its time. As you were learning and healing in 3D limitations, now you're entering a state of being anchored in the heart. Christ consciousness descending into your very cells. I'm not speaking of religious dogma, but the universal christened light. This is the same light that Yeshua and the great masters embodied and demonstrated. You're now being called to embody this divine light rather than seek it. This means trusting more and thinking less. Where logic may be uncertain, you allowing the purest of essence from your heart to guide you. The maps are unfolding within you rather than you saying, I must work to become enlightened. The new energy asks you to fully embrace the enlightenment on a soul level because you are already enlightened. And allow that inner light to take lead. This is the shift from doing spirituality to being spirituality. Okay? Now this is 3 different energies trying to come through at the same time. And I share these prophecies and these words to you so that you can take them back to you. And I will dive way deeper than into that in video here. And I'll put it up on YouTube. These are 3 different energies that were coming through yesterday and 3 different things that were being said to me. So I'm going to read the first one. Take a pause, read the second one, take a pause, and then the third one. But understand that there's 3 different layers that are coming through when I speak this. The sacred changes within one's mind only come through realization of how many times you've died trying to come alive. The sacred changes within one's mind only come through realizations of how many times you've died trying to come alive. Born to a dimensional plane in a sacred time frame that infects the body, soul, and mind. We were all told it's part of the process, but on a deeper request, the divine interjected and gave us the reflection to a higher timeline. The sacred codex, knowledge, and wisdoms of our ancient imprints, infecting us in the process, per Big Pharma's request. They intertwine, but they're all 3 from different energies. The sacred changes within one's mind only to come through realization of how many times you've died trying to come alive. Born to a dimensional plane in a sacred time frame that infects the body, soul, and mind. We are all told it's part of the process, but on a deeper request, the divine interjected and gave us the reflection to a higher timeline. The sacred codex, knowledge and wisdoms of our ancient imprints, infecting us in the process, per Big Pharma's request. So, when it's given to me more, I will write this out, speak it, I'll put it out in video, and I always get to tell my husband, I'm like, they're seeding something, I can feel it, we're about to start writing the other part of the prophecy, I can feel it, because I finished that scroll was a cycle, and it was given to me in 5 different parts, and so that scroll that I was given in transmission was given in 5 different parts, and it's done and over with, so that cycle is over, so now we're starting a new cycle, so they're starting to give me the new scroll. The seed of creation, or did you forget, in the beginning it was us and we were it. You wanted to experience it. Time and space is what took place from many different frequencies that allowed it to be, brought on by many different creeds and beings that became the seed, which then became the word to be. The Divine Mother planted the seed of creation. Your Mother Earth that I created was never meant to be a way station. You were born to create, you were born to have fun. You were born from the light, that's where it's begun. The sands of time have clogged your mind. Frequency turned to words, left your voice unheard. You forgot all that you learned when you emerged. Time and space is what took place. You came to your senses with divine comprehension. You reinforced your prism, clearing out the masses. You finally chose to take off your rose-colored glasses. Your mind races, your heart stood still, not knowing then what would take place. Red pill, blue pill, no choice at all. Waiting for time and space to fall, wondering when and if you would hear the call. Come the one and come the all, as your mother's voice stood tall. You knew the answer and you heard your call. The spark, the fire, the flame, call it what you want here, your words are all the same. The masters and the spirits already know your name. It's an imprint through all time and space. Do you even remember your truest of name? The one the Creator gave you when it birthed you in all of your light with all of its sight. Time stood still the day you were born. You came out perfect, you were never meant to be torn. You're made to believe what your human eyes could perceive. Don't you see the light I gave you is inside of me? Make no mistake, oh my how you've grown. It shows in your smile a newfound home. The tides have turned. Oh, what a mess. What did you think? I was not in distress. Did you think I would forget? My children come from wide and far. A uniting of their tongues will soon roar. The trumpets will sound and be silenced no more. In perfect peace and harmony once more. No longer can you claim my land, you see, it was never yours to begin with, it's what you made it out to be. Oh, how you have disrespected the one you call God, who is truest in nature. I sent my son in physical form to represent me, the eternal flame, the divine creator. He had natural abilities to be the protector and fulfill the divine prophecy, to complete the sacred sectors of geometry. We're talking ley lines and all of that. He did exactly what I asked of thee, but you personified him and persecuted him, turned him into a sacrifice, because you were scared of thee. But this time I made the order taller, that he comes back as she, all in divine order. You'll see. A gift to my children. A peaceful presence will return. Justice for all was my bond and my word. The Creator has watched all that you've done. Did you think you would get away with your fun? Torture, slavery, and greed from day one. Don't worry, your judgment day will come. You've taken way more than what you need. This will no longer be a place of greed. No matter what race, lineage, or creed. My children have come to unite, you see. Under my grace, you took from every age, race, and gender, people suffering while you danced in a splendor. Not thinking that my children of the light would catch on to your demise, divide and conquer was your prize. The war you made was all in your minds, only to trap their souls as your prize. There's one you could not trick, the Creator, the all, the infinity. Can't you see? The tables have turned, you better run quickly. You made my children forget the prophecy through your words you used as frequencies, your lies and unspoken truths you hid from thee. But you forgot the Creator can see every nook, every cranny, and every thought to be, for it wrote the divine prophecy of eternity. My children have come to unite, you see, from near and far. I put out a grand call for a great awakening. Come the one and come the all. My heart beat that grounds their feet. My lands, my rivers, my plants and trees, What a sweet treat, but they have forgotten what connects them all to me and you. A dream some think that won't come true. Far-fetched they think, but that's the key. Divine intervention that no one can see, but the truest of eyes and hearts that beat. We returned the call, we knew the answer. The 144 was the answer from every lineage, every race, every dimension and creed. For they remember the code to be, and they have walked this path since the beginning of humanity. I hid them this time near and far. For every 1,000,000 there's only 3. I was way smarter than you could believe. We also gathered those that carry the feather and the rose to be. They come from faraway places of many backgrounds, colors, and races, not from these familiar places. They are here to spark the masses to create a higher expansion. And this is what you call rapid ascension. Many of you remember the prophecy that I have spoken, where it's the shift, the birther of light, right? The birther of light comes back in all of its sight. And that is the rapid ascension in which I was given, because many at that time are going to be faced with a choice. Do they choose to transcend, or do they choose to stay stuck in the silence again? And so therefore, when you have seen many of you in white robes, when you have seen many of community in white robes, just know that that's the level of purity in which you are headed, because of you making the choices that you've chosen to be in silence no more. Okay, thank you. I can continue on now. Inner earth and outer earth are about to merge. This will no longer leave your voice unheard. You found peace in the silence, left behind so much violence, only to become vulnerable once more, that left you on your knees in front of my door. Voices churned as your emotions burned, trying to find peace in the silence once more. Tender pieces finally put together in one frame, not from disdain, but because you finally remembered your name from which you came. The demons in your brain from which you came, you had to learn to refrain until nothing but my voice remained. You had to learn that the spirits of disdain already knew your name as you came to complete your destiny once more. Turning the pages, you learned from the sages how to find peace in the silence, moving away from spiritual violence. You knew your life was never going to be a bore. The energies of the enemies knew when you were born. This is the meticulous beginning of our sequel. You had to learn that you were not all created equal. Your frequency and light were that of mine. This I had to teach you in due time. And soon you would learn that everything would turn out fine. Trusting the process puts you humans in such distress. This time is not equal. That's why this is the beginning of the second sequel. You are my people. The spaces in the in-between is where you had to sew up the seams so your light could not be seen. You've come so far from who you are to what you are. This is the most growth I've seen thus far. You had to come back home to me and no longer flee from what was inside of you and me. I am your equal. I created the heavens and the earth and all the planets that reside. Put your differences aside and come alive. Everyone transitions, which is what you call death, but not everybody lives and know what it's like to give the remembrance. I was also told by the divine we were going to remember everything this time, and we would also remember everything here this time as well. It's part of the gift that we were given. Nothing can be erased anymore. I created the heavens and the earth and all the planets that reside. Put your differences aside and come alive. Everybody transitions, which is what you call death, but not everybody lives and know what it's like to give. Give to the one that gave to you. I reside in each and every one of you. The merging of the two. We spoke of this yesterday with Thomas, the Gospel of Thomas, saying number 22. When the two enter the kingdom of one, right? Where two become one, the one become the sum. The merging of the two, the inner you, the outer you call that your higher self, I think to be true. Inner earth and outer earth, the heavens and the earth will merge once more. This cycle will no longer be born. It was all part of the perfect storm in the process in which you forget. Don't worry, it's nowhere near over yet. There is plenty of time to reflect and process all that you are. And once your knees hit the floor, you'll remember once more. It's true. I created the heavens and the earth with the help of your birth. To the depths of your soul are so very old, it's wrapped in gold. Behold the stories that were left untold. All is about to unfold. This is something you've been told. Your heart is so very bold. Don't believe all you have been sold and told. Nothing more can be bought, borrowed, sold, or left untold. These are the stories of gold about to unfold that have never been borrowed, bought, sold, or told. This is a prophecy so very, very old, and it all starts with the gold. The sacred changes within one's mind only come through realization of how many times they've died trying to come alive. Born to a dimensional plane in sacred time frame that infects the body, the soul, the mind. We were all told it's all part of the process, but on a deeper request, the divine interjected and gave us the reflection to a higher timeline. The sacred codex, knowledge and wisdoms of our ancient imprints, infecting us in the process per Big Pharma's request. The next prophecy that I was given in 2023 is the rise and the fall of the crypto and of the XRP. It will rise and it will fall. And you're seeing the rise of it now before it all falls, because it all has to be decentralized. It all has to be decentralized because it's all been compromised, because it's not of the divine, it's not of God, it is of man. And anything that is made in greed and not made in unity is going to be a part of the structure of the fall. It is not of God, it is not of truth, and therefore it cannot be used in the new timeline in which you're feeling that you mainly already go back and forth to. The only time you go back to is when something pulls you back to that orientation. Most of the time you're very much so in a higher timeline and in a higher time frame, but you can definitely feel the disdain in your spirit when you go back to clear something, or you go back to help somebody else that may be there in that way. So you can feel the shifting in your spirit from many different ways in many different plays. All right, thank you guys for letting me hang out with you tonight. I will put this live up. I got yesterday's up, and I will get this one up, but as soon as all that prophecy comes through me, I will make sure that that gets up on YouTube. Okay, you guys do me a favor, take care of yourselves and each other, and if you need anything, and if you need a session, if you are in transition, if you're in place of trying to get from one space to the next and you don't understand what's going on and you don't know what's being seeded inside of you, you know, more than likely it's a prophetic calling that you have upon your life for you to be seeding something through. And so it's just about obedience and staying in spiritual discernment at this time with everything that's relevant to you. You can feel the fast-paced changes. You can feel all the things coming offline, online. Grids are being moved. All the volcanoes that have been activated, all of the things in your north node, okay, which all goes back to parts of your destiny. Your north node is all encoded with your destiny. If you guys need help reading your chart, you're more than welcome to reach out as well, okay? Take care of yourselves and each other, all right? Till we meet again. Mwah. What can I do for my self-proclaimed? Oh, there's a lot. Actually, it's really cool because when you come to the understanding of the atheist, right, it's nothingness. When you get to the state of nothingness, right, you're actually in divine alignment already, because the atheist does not necessarily believe that there is something more to themselves for them to be able to perceive, to receive, right? But when it's kind of a backwards joke that the divine has, because once you get into the state of nothingness, you're shown everythingness. So then therefore, those that don't understand what's being seeded upon command, it's quite funny because everything works backwards. And that's why I said my whole life has been backwards, and I've been working backwards since the day I was born. That's why most visions and most transmissions that I'm given, I received the first last and the last first, and then I had to put them in chronological order based upon what I was told. And so you have to understand, when you get to the state of nothingness, that's when the divine actually shows you everything, and that's when you actually start to receive and understand the universal energy as a whole. And the universal energy as a whole has the energy system and the energy body of masculine and feminine to receive the whole. So you're actually in the state of nothingness, which shows you everythingness. And that's part of the ha-ha funny when it comes to people that are atheists, because they believe in nothingness. They don't believe in a structure or a power greater than themselves. But I challenge that, because I challenge that to ask them, then why do they not believe in themselves? And when you understand the gifts that you've been given, how can you not believe in yourself? To believe in oneself is to believe in the divine, because you weren't created in this timeline for nothingness. But part of that voided process leaves you to everything that you already need, because you're in nothingness. So you're able to receive everything. Thank you. Take care of yourselves and each other. Till we meet again. Mwah.